everyone. So here we are. What are we? We're Saturday. So we're what's that? 9 days. September 11th, our bear season will open, as well as our archery deer. And I'm a little bit excited. I got to admit, I was out shooting today with the longbow and doing some last minute fine tuning to the new single bevels that I've got. But that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I always promise myself that I'm going to try to do a video about the Hunters Helping the Hungry program through Feed Nova Scotia. And of course, the Federation of Anglers and Hunters helps support and promote that. But I feel like we could always do a little better job before season of trying to promote it and remind everyone that the program is there. And there are some details, and I'll go over some of that first, and then I'll kind of give some ending comments. But certainly, the Hunters Helping the Hungry program, some guys say that there are some issues with it. There might be some issues with it. There's issues with everything, mainly because humans have something to do with it. So this is what we've got, and it works very well, even though there's always opportunity to try and improve things. So let me read a little bit about this, and I'm going to read all I did. These are pages right out of the 2023 summary of regulations. And so let me read this here a little bit. Hunters Helping the Hungry program is a joint initiative of the hunting community, that's us, and Feed Nova Scotia, whereby hunters can donate a portion of their deer, moose, or bear meat, and that's what I want to talk about, to help support Nova Scotians who access food banks. With the support of the Nova Scotia Federation of Anglers and Hunters, they have organized a draw for a chance to win a rifle. Every hunter who donates any amount of meat will receive a ballot for a draw at the annual general meeting of the Nova Scotia Federation of Anglers and Hunters in March-April. Ballots and details are available at each of the participating licensed meat cutters. I know that's where some of you guys fall down as far as how easy it is to donate. I'm not disagreeing. However, we'll move on and then we'll talk about that. All right, how does it work? Hunters register their deer, bear, moose, same as normal. Hunter takes the deer, bear, moose to a licensed participating meat cutter. And on the following page is all of the meat cutters participating this year. Numbers are down as far as the participating meat cutters, so that's something I'd like to talk about. Complete your order request and ballot with the name and wildlife resource card number. The winner must be in possession of a valid PAL. Okay. Feed Nova Scotia picks up the donations and the ballots from the licensed meat cutters where you've dropped it off. And the draw will take place during the Federation annual general meeting, again, March or April, depending. And then the note in here says processing is at the hunter's expense. And it is. We'll talk about that more. All right. How can I get involved? Contact a participating licensed meat cutter. And you can see a list, page 78 in the summary. And I'll read those to you. How much can I donate is an often asked question. They'll gladly accept any amount. So you can donate £1, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. And what happens is that's usually done up in ground. Normally speaking, I have seen it done where it's been done in sort of stew meat, but most often it's a pound of ground meat and separated into pound bags, and that makes it very easy to be frozen, picked up, and then taken, and then because it's frozen, it gets the pound of meat sacks are very easily donated or handed out to those in need. So part of that. Are there any guidelines for donating deer, moose, bear meat? Yes. This is, again, where we talk about this a little bit as hunters. Participating meat cutters will ensure the meat has been handled properly to ensure food safety. Now, that's important. It really is. We all, have a different way of processing our meat. I do tend to use, butchers for my meat. And I do skin out my bear, deer, whatever it happens to be, and I take that to the butcher. Some butchers want you to bring it with the fur on, but not all. So I want my meat even hanging in the, if it's going to be hanging next to another clean slab of meat, not next to something that's been dragged through the woods with the skin off and covered in dirt. Or, because it's early season a lot of the time, something that's been not properly taken care of because of the heat and not cooled properly. So there are a number of factors there when you have to consider, you know, the game meat that you might be donating, and it has to have a professional figure out and make sure that it is safe to cut up and distribute to those in need. So it's important for Feed Nova Scotia, and this program is specifically to have licensed meat cutters do the work, and then that way it's just fewer hands along the line to ensure that that meat, when it's brought to the table, is in the best condition it can be in. So whether you agree or disagree with that, I suppose in the end of the day, it only really affects whether or not you're willing to go that extra mile to donate, because it is required in order for Feed Nova Scotia to be able to hand it out to other people. Now, meat in your freezer, if you want to give it to somebody and they want to accept it, then, you know, Feed Nova Scotia isn't liable for that. So that's important to try and remember. So as we go down through that, here are the participating, and I'll post this. Probably shouldn't even have done that. I'll just cut it into the video, these 2 pages. Here we are in North Sydney, Bonner's Meats on Queen Street. In Tatamagouche, Ebbett's Meadowbrook Farm Market, and they're on Upper River John Road. Kavicki Meats in Upper Tantallon, that's where I take my meat. Nova Traditional in New Glasgow. Chater Meat Market in Dartmouth on Wise Road. A long time they've been participating in this, and kudos to them. Riverview Meat Market in Chester Basin. Dobin's Meat Market in, where's that in? Oh, in Bridgetown. And then Vacheresis Meats, I probably mispronounced that, in Antigonish. Those are the 8. I think we had 13 at one point. So again, I know that if your complaint is there aren't enough participating licensed meat cutters, it hasn't been growing. If you know one or are one, reaching out to Hunters Helping the Hungry so that they know that you're willing to perhaps go that extra mile to help them put meat on the tables of those in need, it wouldn't be a bad thing. So whether you, here's where things get, in my opinion, you know, we hear talk about the number of bears being more than once upon a time, whether it's a what do they call it, hyperabundance or whatever terminology they tend to use as biologists. There are more bears. It is certainly a healthy population. I've actually heard a now retired DNR biologist say it's more than healthy. So we have the opportunity to put meat in our freezers, bear, and perhaps meat in the freezers of those in need. Help Hunters Helping the Hungry and Feed Nova Scotia. So quite often, what Dave and I do, and Dave is my hunting partner, quite often what we do is we'll donate half of our bear. Just because we don't necessarily need a whole bear ourselves. So quite often we'll get it done up. We'll keep the back straps and some of the choice roasts, and then we'll have some sausage or pepperoni and some ground. But then the rest, half of the bear, we get done up in the ground and we donate that. We don't mind paying that amount of money to a licensed meat cutter to kind of make up sausage and pepperoni and all that stuff, and then have them kind of do up the other half. At the end of the day, I think it's anywhere between, and it may go up this year, so don't count on this, but I think it's anywhere between 80 and 130 to have the bear processed without any specialty meats being made up. Many of us will spend, or many of us, probably not me, but a lot of people will spend that or more on apples just trying to get a deer. And so the amount of money we spend on hunting, if we can just set aside a little more money and a little more time in order to get that to a licensed meat cutter, the advantages to those who are in need to get that meat, I think is something that I want you to try and consider anyway. And if you're not going to eat any of the bear yourself, for whatever reason, bear isn't your palate, and that's okay. If you happen to be hunting over an apple pile and a bear comes along early season, maybe take that bear out of the equation, bring those numbers down in the population, and bring that bear out, skin it out, field dress it, and take it to one of those. And for, about $100, that's a lot of protein that gets put on the table. And protein is one of the hardest things for Feed Nova Scotia to get donated. Boxes of cereals, canned vegetables, all these things, people are doing a pretty good job of getting that, or they can manage to do it through, donations that they get, and being able to buy that stuff at a lower cost in bulk. But meat is the exception. They don't have that same opportunity. So that money doesn't go quite as far when they're trying to do that with meat. So any meat that we can get them is a huge, huge help. And I've sat at the table with them. This is obviously something I've, had my hand in for a little while. I don't do it directly with Feed Nova Scotia anymore since I've left the Federation, but they're still very good friends, and I'm trying to help them out any way I can to increase the amount of protein that us hunters are able to put there. For you trappers, again, I know it comes at some cost, but if you're able to perhaps reach out to a local business that maybe is willing to kind of flip you get the bear, you do all the work, and you take it into the meat cutter. If maybe there's a business that wouldn't mind donating, in order to have it processed, there's an opportunity to put quite a bit of protein also on the table. So there are a lot of ways that I think if we think just a little bit outside the box, we could do a great deal better on the amounts of protein that the Hunters Helping the Hungry program is getting in. If you have any questions or comments about this, please do reach out to me. Honestly, if you're looking for specific information, you might be better reaching out to Feed Nova Scotia and the Hunters Helping the Hungry program and asking for the coordinator there. And they might have different and better information than me. But if it's from the hunting perspective, please reach out and I'll try to get you. If I don't know the answer, I'll certainly find the guy who does. All right. To the woods, everyone. Thank you for giving me a soapbox. That's 13 minutes. To the woods. Cheers. Have a great season.